From the heart of Inwood at Inwood Art Works Studio, welcome to Inwood Art Works On Air. It's where we meet the musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, and artists of all stripes who make their home what we affectionately call upstate Manhattan. I'm your host, Aaron Sims, and today we welcome local filmmaker Andrew Kaberline. Andrew is a writer, producer, who tells stories somewhere on the Venn diagram between scary and heartwarming. He writes surreal horror, touching genre fare, and anxiety-driven nightmares. His short horror script Dummy won the HollyShorts Screenwriting Competition, was produced and debuted at the historic TCL Chinese Theatre in Hollywood. He's also won the ScreenCraft Animation and ScreenCraft Short Screenplay competitions, the latter with the Inwood Film Festival Fund grantee winning Tallahassee Twin, and placed in the Academy Nicholl Fellowship. He was the creator and co-writer of the Serling-Award winning anthology podcast, The Grayscale. He loves Criterion films, pro wrestling, and Survivor equal amounts, but he's here showing us some love, and he's going to talk to us about how he thinks about good scripts, providing more questions than answers, and much more here on Inwood Art Works On Air. So thank you, Andrew, for coming here. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. And it's great to see you in person, not on a Zoom or anything. It's how about that actual interaction? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it is great to be in a physical space, and in a physical space as beautiful as this, too. You know, I am pointing to the room that everyone can't see the whole room right now, but look through my eyes and you can see how much I love it looking at it.
Andrew
right
is
now.
our first podcast guest in the studio. I should have said that earlier, but it's like not about me. It's about Andrew.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it's great. It's fantastic. And this is like a really tiny thing that I'm looking like down at the floor right now, but the sun coming through the window over the logo and like making that shadow on the floor is such a like lovely thing. That should be your like Instagram account like profile pic now. I think like throw a bunch of filters on it. It will look great.
Where are my interns?
Yeah.
Get the phone, get the all the apprentices.
Yeah.
My media department. Oh, that's me again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. We were here the other night, and obviously in the evening, and the turning off of 204 here and headlights. There was a stencil, the logo going across.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was very Hitchcock. You know.
Yeah.
It comes across.
Hitchcovian.
I was like, whoa. It's like that's kind of cool. Like, it came across like someone's face, like the logo, or they're sitting where you're sitting. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool. Well, thanks again, and yeah, we're thrilled to be able to have finally our own home.
Yeah.
We hope this is the first of many more to come.
Well, thank you for welcoming me into your home, as it is to say.
Yeah. Well, you're not from New York City originally, right?
No.
Yeah. So how'd you make it here? How'd you make your way to the Heights?
I grew up in Virginia, in Northern Virginia, like basically DC is what people from that area say. And I went to college at Virginia Tech, which, you know, people might not think of it as like, oh yeah, the art school, Virginia Tech, the technical college. But they had a really big theater and film program that they put a lot of money into it as I was applying there and going there. I met a lot of collaborators, and I moved up to New York with them, starting a theater company, I think about like 2014. So it was a long time ago, but yeah, Critical Point Theater. We moved up here, and for 5 or 6 years with that company, we were doing indie theater, we were making films, and we were making podcasts too. And that's really where I like found my groove, was being the head of the podcast department within Critical Point.
Well, I knew we were in good hands having you as the first one here on the podcast studio. Yeah. Well, and the company's no longer together, correct?
No. And I think that like sometimes when people say that about like, oh yeah, my theater company that like stopped being in existence, it's like, oh, you say it as if someone died. Mm-hmm. And I think this was actually the perfect way that a theater company of young people should exist, which is a bunch of young 20-somethings move to a city, work together a bunch, and kind of individually find out, oh, this is the thing I want to go do. So we kind of like naturally ended, because it was like, oh, all 13 of us had found kind of our new people and our new path that we wanted to go down. And like all those people are still doing some sort of art.
Nice.
Like, yeah.
Nice. I mean, it's rare for that to happen. Usually everyone comes searching for a platform. You guys brought the platform with you.
Yeah.
And that was very helpful, I think. It gave you guys a gathering spot. You had each other at the very least. You weren't coming here with a suitcase and a dream.
No, yeah. We had a suitcase, a dream, and a couch. I think that's what we brought.
The couch was missing.
Yeah.
Gosh. I should have brought my couch when I got here. Oh well. Well, obviously your time and your experience here has served you well in theater, and did that springboard you into filmmaking from then, or were you making films in college too?
I was making films in college, and in college I wanted to be the auteur. I was like, I got a degree in theater performance, and I got a degree in screenwriting, and I got a creative writing minor.
Okay, overachiever.
And I said I want to make as many degrees that won't make me money as possible. Was what I told people for a while. But I wanted to be I wanted to be the director, I wanted to be the producer, I wanted to be everything. And now I've kind of reduce that to being like, please don't put me in charge of the camera.
Don't give me anything more to do, please.
Yeah. Please let me just write the thing and produce the thing, and like that.
Just produce the thing. That's all.
Yeah.
Jeez. People forget what producing. You have 5 jobs to start with.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is and that's how I feel as a producer now. Is I'm good at assembling a team. I'm good at kind of pushing people out of that nest, and then I like to escape into the bushes like I'm Homer Simpson and that meme. Like that's
Great
what
reference.
After like a few, like the first month, I want to
get that on the B-roll by any chance?
Just superimpose it over my face right now. Yeah.
Don't think we can't. Well, as I mentioned in your bio, you're not just a filmmaker. You have, I mean, I know a bit of your work. I've seen 2 or 3 of your works, and you have an affinity for the horror / heartwarming genre. Yeah. You're the hallmark of horror. If might be your catchphrase. I've coined you as.
I love that.
Well, you're welcome. It's free. You're welcome. And it's that's your kind of your part of your. I mean, I challenge you all to go watch Andrew's oeuvre of film here, and it's got the horror tinge, but it has a real sense. It's very grounded in reality and real people, which is strange to say for a horror genre, which is why I think it's very attractive. And I will say I feel like you've developed a signature style with this. Mm-hmm. And not to go deep and crack open your soul to us. They're new floors, please. Don't get on the floor. But do you know what I'm talking about? Like, there's a sensitivity and to your filmmaking, and also you're very faithful to the horror genre. Do you have any idea of like where that comes from?
Yeah, I think I do. And it's I talk around the type of horror I make a lot because I think it is hard to pin down. I say that thing about it's the Venn diagram of scary and heartwarming because it's just like I don't make a lot of guy with a knife running around slashing. I don't make gore fests. I think it comes from I think I was 10 years old and I saw Vertigo. And that...
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. I think it was Grandpa, actually. Turned on TCM and was like, this is going to be fine.
He's like,
here's this,
give me another beer out of the fridge while you're at it, kid.
This, psychosexual, mind F movie. And that made a big impact on me in terms of, I watch movies, but this feels like watching art and, watching something I wasn't maybe allowed to be watching at that age. And that is a movie about very interior impulses and outwardly expressed through very strange obsession. I think that is what I've latched onto as what is interesting to me in an art space. Mm. So that is a movie someone is in love with someone, that person dies, they see someone who looks like that person and then try to mold them into the image of the person who died. And that is a movie where it is played very straight. Jimmy Stewart is the lead, the most straight man you can think of. Yeah. And he acts in such a bizarre way, and the movie doesn't really treat it as particularly bizarre. They let the behavior speak for itself. Yeah. I think that's the lesson that I've learned, and I've been implementing it for a long time. I think only recently have I even put my thumb on this is actually where that came from and what is interesting to me. So I don't know that I intended to make horror, but I've really intended to make stories of people being obsessed in a way that really concerns the people around them. And I've found like a home in the like indie horror space. Like that is where I've been accepted, you know, more than like the drama section of film
let's face
festivals.
it, the inner life of people can be very messy.
Yeah. Yes.
As much as they want to keep it clean.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great answer. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
I know it is hard to articulate. Well, like I said, you're a very seasoned veteran of this hallmark of horror, and I'm going to say it all the time now.
Let's keep saying it so that like, I don't think Hallmark Channel like makes horror movies, and if they want to pay me to make some stuff for them, I'm not opposed to it.
I think it's awesome. I think you should. They could use a bit change of genre, I feel. Yes, the people who wear the Hallmark hoodies and they go watch their shows together, they might change their hoodies.
Yeah.
So do you feel that you've done a lot of film festivals? Do you feel the film festival circuit at large has like a sweet spot for horror?
Oh yeah. I think that there's something about horror that has as a genre, it forces you to think in a high concept, but there is kind of an acceptance of it if it looks schlocky, for like lack of a better term, that like that can be really fun in a way where like, here's my drama movie. And if something looks really low budget, if it looks really below realistic, you reject the movie. And it's hard to make things look realistic on the budgets that very indie filmmakers are shooting on.
Yeah.
So horror, I think, is embraced particularly in the festival circuit because of that allowance, of that suspension of disbelief, and that okayness with intentionally looking in a stylized, cheap way. Like cheap isn't a dirty word in horror,
right?
You know,
you're granted a lot more leeway in your production.
Leeway is better than
production
cheap.
values. Perhaps the leeway was cheap, but still.
But like cheap and creative go hand in hand.
That's
I
true
think too, and like. I think that like a lot of the movies that have put me to sleep more at the film festivals I've gone to, and I've just come off of doing like a lot of film festivals. I've seen a lot of indie movies, and the ones that put me to sleep were some of the most like polished looking like ones. They just were like,
as a programmer of a film festival, I concur. Yeah. It's like you know how to make a film, and maybe you do own a red camera, and you there's
you shot on film.
And the funny thing is, I feel like there's a lot of people now trying to be retro for retro's sake. Like I shot it on 16 millimeter. And I'm just like, good for you.
You got the money to do it.
But it's just like, but my point is like, but other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the show? It's just like, it's like, was it a good play? Was it a good story? Was it a good, it's like what you're losing sight of what's important here. And I find a lot of filmmakers are in love with film, not necessarily telling good stories. Yeah. Which is unfortunate. You would think they would be, being lovers of film. But you also have the capacity and talent and skill, which is all these different formulas, and time and money, right? So I totally hear you. Well, thank you for answering that about the horror.
If I could say one more thing about the horror festival, and this is like my pitch for like the horror community and why they're so great, is we talked about the kind of things I make, and they're never capital H horror. A lot of times what I make doesn't neatly fit into a horror world. And horror people, for the most part, don't care and are so inviting. They're actually like the people who are into the most gnarly, grisly films out there tend to be the most accepting community that I've found in the indie film space.
Because you're all trying something.
Yeah. Taking huge swings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to talk about that in a second too, is that another swing, just to harp on film festivals for a second, there's these screenwriting competition festivals as well.
Sure.
Which may be separate or a facet of a film festival. You've had some good experience with that, with both of those, some great success as well. How have they served you in furthering your work, and what do you find helpful about them? Because I feel like when I get the question a lot about saying, the Inwood Film Festival, do you guys have a screenwriting category? And I'm just like, we don't. It's purely a capacity question for us. Like we just don't have the capacity. We don't have a staff to do it well. Yeah. And so that's why I wanted to ask you. It's like, does it serve the filmmakers? Has it served you well and been helpful?
It served me well, but maybe not in a truly artistic capacity. I think it's the closest. We were talking about sports video games before this, and like I'm a sports guy, and I think it's the closest I get to a true competition mindset. I think it's valuable in that way. It is I like having rules, and some of the best screenplay contest results I've gotten come from entering contests that said, okay, NYC Midnight was this one that was like, okay, you have a week to write something that's 13 pages. The main character has to be a chocolatier and it has to be a crime caper. And I love that as a competition, even though that's NYC Midnight, they're great. They're not a super huge competition, but in that, I did 4 rounds of that competition. I got second place, and I wrote Dummy for the final thing. And they're like, you have 24 hours to write a 5-page thing about a disappearance in a trainer. And that's what Dummy came out of. And then after that, I reworked Dummy, and Dummy has like been my artistic life for the past few years and has really like skyrocketed. So I think screenwriting competitions can be really helpful in like a competitive or like a reps, like if you're like weight training sort of way. The hardest thing about being a writer is finding the time to sit down and write, and having that sort of like time constraint of a competition, I think is really valuable to force you into doing that. But on the flip side, I'll say that not all screenwriting competitions are great. I think sometimes you do have to be weary about festivals that have it just to have it. I think that's like not particularly helpful. Then you're like throwing away your money to hopefully get a laurel. And like, I don't know how valuable that is for most people in their situation.
Yeah, the laurel thing is I feel it's like almost like trading Pokemon cards. It's just it's like, do you have that laurel? Oh, but I have this laurel.
Yeah.
And do you have that laurel, this laurel, and that laurel? It's
and
like,
you can't have the laurels fight against each other like Pokemon cards,
which would be really cool if you could
great.
animate that. But that's a whole separate, I think, world of the value of laurels versus no laurels. I mean, we just had our kickoff party for the film festival, and immediately people were asking me, "Where could I have my laurels?" And I'm just like, I've already emailed them to you. Like, I learned at the party to email everyone their laurels while they're at the party, so they walk away with in their hand the laurels, because that seems to be the most popular thing to have. And I just like to it's kind of like it's a dual question with the screenwriting thing. It's like what value, how much help is that really going to help you? I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about more eyeballs in your film, right? And I think I love the fact you said about having the discipline it gives and parameters to put pen to paper / fingers on the keyboard, if you will, to create. Because let's just face it, a lot of people are one-man gangs, and they're working 2 or 3 jobs, and they don't have the mental capacity or the time to set aside. It's always, we'll get to that tomorrow. It's like Harry Hope's bar and Iceman Cometh. It's just like we'll do it tomorrow, and it's
always a day.
40 years later, they're still sitting at the bar and haven't written the screenplay yet. So and I still get that from a lot of people. So thanks for sharing that. I think it's a really and on both sides of it, because I think it's very helpful for people to hear. Let's turn our attention to your latest story, the upcoming Tallahassee Twin. Enough about Dummy. We all know about Dummy, that Dummy thing.
Dummy's come and gone, and it's on Omeletto right now. If you want to watch it at any point,
put the
link.
Link right there. Hyperlink. You can touch it. Big flashing lights. So, can you tell listeners about introduce them to Tallahassee Twin?
Tallahassee Twin is a short that is, again, in this kind of genre that I work in, that it's like horror, kind of. It's not.
You
quite
mean the
horror.
Hallmark horror?
The Hallmark horror. Again, flashing lights here. Hallmark horror, TM. This actually, I wrote it in about an hour, which is not the speed that I normally write in. I was at a film festival, another great film festival, the Nightmare Film Festival in Ohio. It's like near the OSU campus, and they're like a horror specific festival run by some great people. And I saw 85 films in 4 days, I think. And I'm politically a really progressive guy, and I saw a lot of films at this festival that had the same political leanings that I do, and were like giving messages that I agree with. and I found myself really unsatisfied with some of these films. For that reason only. Like, technically they were great, but I felt like the people who need to hear the messages of these films were being rejected as like villains in the film immediately. And I just felt like, I don't see any of these changing hearts and minds. So I came back to my Airbnb and I sat, this is dumb. I sat they had a big bathtub in the Airbnb, and I sat in it like on like Trumbo or something, and I like wrote it in there in like an hour. And I was like, what if I make a movie where the person who I think needs to learn about empathy and people who are different themselves in the world is the main character? And it's like, I'm going to delay the audience finding out that they're actually the villain for as long as I possibly can, so that someone could actually get engaged with it. And by the time I'm teaching them their lesson, that's too far. You're trapped. You can't get out at that point.
But I like them. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I realized I didn't say anything about what the movie is actually about.
It's okay. You don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
You've said enough.
But yeah, it is a movie about mattress salesmen. And I think that like, that's the kind of boring thing that you wouldn't put in the log line of your movie. That is kind of like where
we have a full mattress block this year at the film festival.
Yeah.
Sleepy's is a sponsor.
2 blocks. Yeah.
Exactly.
You have 2.
Exactly. They're twins.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to go into a space that felt weird and boring in mattress salesmen. And then what if a really hip, young, mystical, like woo-woo mattress store comes in, and how that would break the mind of the person who is like been there doing mattress sales forever. Yeah. The bed is the star.
It is the star, but it's also the generational approach to it as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is very relatable.
Yeah. It is a commentary on a lot of different ages of people and how they interpret changing times.
Yeah. Well, say no more, because it'll be at the Inwood Film Festival, we hope, the following year.
Yeah.
Because you're still creating it, yes?
Yeah. We're hoping to film in June. We're working kind of tirelessly right now. We have our team assembled. We're about to start casting, and then very soon we're going to start fundraising. So
that too.
Again, to like throw a link up there, follow. It's Tallahassee Twin Short on Instagram, and that's a great place to follow. So to see all the updates.
And you're getting it at a good time. You're going to follow that process with Andrew.
Yeah,
and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So please do. Follow. And also it kind of leads me into the next kind of question, is that an observance, if you will, going back to kind of everything we talked about, is that making a film is hard enough as it is. Making a horror film has this whole other have a layer of creative magic to it that you would not. I'm not talking magical realism. I'm just talking magic in general, that may or may not be a part of executing the vision for the screenplay. So how have you faced those challenges thus far in this film, and without giving away anything?
Yeah. Some of my friends call me a magical surrealist, which makes me wince a lot. But
I will not say that here.
Yeah. I think this is like a cop-out answer, but you hire out. I think like when I'm writing something like this that does have like a bed that is going to have some supernatural properties, and it's going to have to visually do some things that are not possible for a bed to do in real life, I don't think about how I'm going to accomplish that ever when I'm writing. And I think that is the luxury of being like, I'm trying to just be a screenwriter. So that's someone else's problem.
You learn that.
Yeah. But now it is like, how do I find people who can turn this into a reality, who are excited about turning it into a reality, and who have shown in the past that they've been able to do similar things. And like, we have already, like, before we got a cast, I was like, we have to get our VFX artist and we have to get our production designer.
Get your crew in order.
Yeah. And that was like, those are the superstars of this movie to me.
100%.
And like, I'm very, very happy with who we have too. Athena Merzda and Dusty Austin are like, they're a married couple who are creating like a lot of genre fare themselves with their own studio in Ohio, and they're going to come here to do it. And like, I'm very touched and giddy to have them. I'm like, I can't believe we have them.
Listen, hiring good people who are experts in their field, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
I mean, and also a lesson learned, I think, for a lot of people who are fundraising and trying to make their films. Like, you can't do it all. I'm living proof of that as well. It's like, putting together the studio just recently, we are still doing things here that are requiring levels of expertise that are well beyond me when it comes to electricity and wiring and things that you people get trained and go to school for and do for their living. And I go, well, that's what they do for a living. They should be hired.
Yeah.
Because it's well beyond me to try to figure it out.
Yeah. Knowing your limits is a really strong, and I think kind of rare quality in independent film. I think everyone wants to do everything because a lot of our heroes are auteurs who can do everything. And it's like knowing when to hand off to someone else is the best skill that you can have. I think it also prevents you from being like a petty tyrant,
Andrew the petty tyrant.
Yeah, don't flash that up on the screen right now.
Yeah, exactly. Watch out. Just magical surreal sounds better now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'll go back to that. Yeah.
Well, we wish you all the best on the film, and please stay in touch with everything else. Anything else in the pipeline coming up that you want to share?
Yeah, I've been writing a feature about a feature version of Dummy for a bit, and like maybe that will see the light of day. This is a thing for the time of year it is. I also have another podcast that I host called Much Ado About Wrestling. WrestleMania is coming up very soon.
Awesome.
So yeah, that is where me and another person with a theater degree critique the storytelling merits.
I'll come on that. I went to
wrestling.
a couple, not WrestleManias, but my dad took my brother and I to a few big time WWF events,
like pay-per-views back in the day.
Oh, back in the day, and just to date myself for a second, Andre the Giant versus Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh wow, that's a great.
We're talking like
match to have
really
seen live.
Back Hulk Hogan against the Big Boss Man.
Yeah,
like Demolition versus the British Bulldogs, and people are like, "What happened to this podcast? I thought it was about filmmaking."
What's really sad is I think all those people you listed are no longer with us.
Isn't it
which
sad?
is really
sad. This shows you how long ago that or how young we were when we went. One of the two, my brother and I, and our dad was just like, he's probably like, "What am I doing with these kids?" But I would happily listen to that podcast.
Yeah,
and,
please do.
We'll put a link up also to that podcast.
Yeah,
and thank you so much, Andrew, for taking the time and spending it with us, talking film and wrestling and heartwarming Hallmark horror moments. But for again. Any other web pages to follow or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. You go to my my great page.
Out of the 17 pages I have, the most basic page.
Go to andrewkaberline.com and you can you can read all my work there. You can see all my stuff. And that's where updates for me personally are.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's your home base. And then you could find wrestling podcasts from there, I'm sure.
Yes.
Keep updated of all of Andrew's projects.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, again, it's been a pleasure. Keep us informed.
I will.
And looking for more good things ahead.
Yep. Thank you so much.
You bet. So many thanks to Andrew Kaberline for joining me on this Artist Spotlight episode of Inwood Art Works On Air. It's where I meet the musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, and artists of all stripes that make their home here in our Northern Manhattan hood. If you have a moment, please show us some love right now and rate and review this podcast 5 stars on whatever platform you choose. We greatly appreciate it. Many thanks here to Gary, our engineer, for helping out today. And I will say, hightice.com, thank you for promoting us. We greatly appreciate it uptown. And you can support On Air and all of our programming by making a tax-free donation. Yes, because most of our things are free, like this podcast. Go to inwoodartworks.nyc/donate or via Venmo at Inwood Artworks. We greatly appreciate it. Follow us on social media to keep up all that we do, which includes the Inwood Film Festival, live performances, Filmworks Al Fresco, and so much more. Inwood Artworks On Air is proud to be supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. And Inwood Artworks programming is made possible by the New York State Council on the Arts with the support of the Office of the Governor and the New York State Legislature. From the top of Manhattan and the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Aaron Sims for Inwood Artworks On Air.